We got a pretty important and significant update in relation to Marvel Studios and Marvel Entertainment's Marvel TV canon status. And the latest is an update that confirms Marvel TV is canon, but it's not what you think. So again, this comes at us from the recent Marvel Studios timeline book that came out, and specifically by Kevin Feige, who has a foreword on it, and makes specific notes about Marvel TV. And the book says, in his foreword, and I quote, "On the multiverse note, we recognize that there are stories, movies, and series that are canonical to Marvel, but were created by different storytellers during different periods of Marvel history. The timeline presented in this book is specifically to the MCU sacred timeline through Phase 4. But as we move forward and dive deeper into the multiverse, you never know what timelines may just crash or converge. Hint, hint, / spoiler alert." End quote. Okay, so it's now official. It's all canon as part of the multiverse, but anything not created by Kevin Feige is part of one of the branches to the sacred timeline. So this would accompany anything and everything Marvel's ever done outside of the sacred timeline and Kevin Feige's production. So the Amazing Spider-Man films, those are not part of the sacred timeline. They're not covered in the book, but they are part of continuity, obviously, because they swing back into it. So TV shows that are part of the Defenders lineup, the Hulu shows like Cloak and Dagger, which was also on Freeform, and Runaways, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Inhumans, they're all in separate little pockets of spin-offs / separate timelines that spun off of the sacred timeline, and they exist concurrently. And as he's saying here, you never know what might crash in or converge back into the MCU. So the big takeaway here is, while they are not canon, they can be canonized. And some of these characters can still exist, they just haven't been introduced in the MCU proper. So, Ghost Rider. Robbie Reyes is introduced way late into when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. went off and done its own thing, right? Well, Robbie Reyes could still exist in the proper MCU. It might be a different actor, it might be a same one. Same origin, slightly different. We don't know. So they can play around with this, sort of with how Daredevil's playing into it. It's the same character, but is it crashing back in, or has he been here the whole time and have his events played out, but some of the other ones haven't? That's the interesting factor here. So we don't have a full understanding of it, but it's kind of like the DCU angle almost, just not as incoherent because they can't make sense of anything, but it's all here. So yes, it's all canon, but it's pick and choose what Kevin wants to be officially in the MCU and how it might swing back around.